everyone, it's BudgetBunny here. I'm just hanging out with Honey and Sebastian, and as we had a bit of a health scare with Honey earlier this week, I thought I'd kind of do a bunny update. So if you watched my updates video with me and Honey, you will know that we've had kind of some hardships in the last few months with the small pets, and I just haven't been as active on my channel this year as I would have liked. But I thought today I would do kind of an updates video and let you guys know what's going on with all the bunnies. Our little princess, as you can see, is eating and doing okay right now. I would also recommend that if you want to stay on top of everything that's happening at the BB house, to follow our Facebook page, which is just under BudgetBunny. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter and Vine. Tumblr. I'm not really on Tumblr and Vine that much, but I do post on there once in a while. And then you can also follow our other Facebook pages, which are Animal Crackers and the Golden Duo, as well as my other one for my other channel, which is just Crystal Blogs, and all the links to social media are down below. But I tend to post on those networks of social media before anywhere else, just because it takes a lot of time to edit and go through videos, and sometimes when things are happening, especially health concerns, I just am way too preoccupied with the pets to make a proper video. So I just thought today, since I'm hanging out with the bunnies, I would kind of do an updates video, especially now that Honey seems to be doing better, because we were quite worried about her. But first I'll show you how the bunnies are set up for the moment. So in the first area of my kitchen, I have Honey and Sebastian. We are still currently in the stages of bonding, although I do have them spending most of the day together now. For the most part, they're getting along really well. There's lots of snuggling and grooming sessions, but there's also still some fighting and humping, so that's why they can't live together full time. I do try to leave them for short periods of time and just sit in the other room doing things so that I can still hear them and come in and break up a fight if I need to, but give them some space to do their own thing as well. They're not overly territorial, so I have found that I could introduce litter boxes and that went over fine, and I've got a tunnel in here. I'm going to put a hidey house in later, which I had in yesterday, which also went well. The only thing I would say is if you're at the stage of introducing some toys, make sure the toys are new so they don't have any previous scents on them that would cause them to become territorial, and that they all have an entrance and an exit, because that way if a fight breaks out in them, the other rabbit isn't trapped inside it. So that's why I've just got the tunnel there, and then the other hidey house does have an entrance and an exit. And the other thing with bonding is you do want to force them to interact. That's why to start off with the tub is a great idea, because it's a small space, but it's an unfamiliar kind of slippery space that can make them a little nervous. So that's why the tub is a good place to start, and then we've kind of worked up to the kitchen because they've been doing pretty well. But that's why they have a fairly good size here, but it's not overly big, and that's just to force them to get to know one another and interact a little more. And then over on this side here, I've got Ollie and Willow set up. I think, oh, I see Boo Boo. Boo Boo, there he is. So they're just hanging out in the other area of our kitchen. They've been playing with our cat. All of our pets get along really well. I wouldn't leave any of them like just unattended. The cats aren't really a big deal at all, though. Mostly the rabbits just chase Callie. Callie just likes to hang out at the patio door right now because I have a bird feeder that's full of birds. And you can kind of see Murray sleeping out there. It's such a nice day. They wanted out. And Genevieve somewhere else in the backyard, but I've just got them hanging out here having their floor time, and this is not ideal. You don't really want to have rabbits on top of each other like this because when you're bonding, because it could be a distraction. But I've been hanging out sitting against the baby gate, which has been going well. And Callie, what are you doing? But the problem is right now that I'm really limited on areas for anyone to hang out because we're renovating our entire basement, I can't let them play down there. It'll be great when it's all finished because I'm gonna have a laundry room and basically a whole like front area room that will be perfect for the bunnies to play. And the other room that I normally have them in, and you guys have seen videos of this, is the family room. And as you guys know, I've got Honey and Sebastian set up in temporary pens in there right now so that they can get to know one another. So that's why it's just a little crazy right now trying to give everyone the space they need because I've got so much of my house kind of in chaos. And at least this way, although not ideal, is working, and that's the most important thing, is that the bunnies are happy. They're still getting the exercise that they need. Hey babies! And just so that everybody knows, like when we're working on the basement, it's only being done on weekends because we do need other family members to assist us. And we do move the pets to other areas like in the kitchen so that there aren't any issues with it being too noisy or too dusty or anything like that. But we do hope to have that finished in another month or so, which is really exciting for us because when it's all done, it'll definitely be worth it. It's just the process in between. Unfortunately, the lighting isn't brilliant in this part of the kitchen at this time of day. So I've just put the fluorescent ceiling light on to kind of give a little more light, but that's why these guys are maybe looking a little yellower than they should. So yeah, that's a little bit of Ollie and Willow. I had a few people who were kind of missing them because I haven't been that active on YouTube in the last few months as I would have liked, just because of everything that's been going on with us and with the small pets lately. And so that's why I just thought it would be nice for you guys to kind of see the bunnies and see that Ollie and Willow are doing great too. So as you can see, Honey is very lonely. She's just waiting for Sebastian to come back and groom her head. I can't wait for these two to live together because Honey's had a really hard time the last few months. I kind of went over that with my updates video with her, but a couple days ago she actually gave us quite a scare. I went to feed everyone at night. They get their evening pellets around 9 o'clock, and she had no interest in them. And I was trying not to panic, even though she typically gets really excited for pellet time, but I was just trying my best not to overreact, because the other thing is too, with Rocky having passed just a few months ago, you know, of course I'm already on edge and I haven't really fully recovered from that. So what I did was, hi baby, what I did was I fed her and then fed everybody else, got everyone ready for bed, did all my health checks and everything, and then came back to check on her, and she still hadn't touched her pellets. So at this point, I put in some of her favorite foods, and we don't really keep treats in the house because I don't feel pet shop treats are very healthy for them. But I do have a few bits of like dried apple slices and things like that. So I put one of those in the cage. I also put a few different types of forages in the cage as well, and a little carrot, just to see if we could kind of coax her into eating. And I gave her about a half an hour and she still hadn't eaten. So at this point I was getting pretty concerned. So I got my husband to help me force feed her some critical care. And I highly recommend keeping critical care in the house if you have small pets, especially rabbits and guinea pigs, just because when they're ill, the first thing they'll do is stop eating. And with these type of animals, they have to have their digestive system always moving. If their digestive system stops for any period of time, then they can go into something called stasis, which eventually will cause their body to shut down. And it's very scary. And as you guys know, this is basically what happened to Rocky. And so it is very serious and life-threatening. And I can think of a number of people whose rabbits passed away this way. So at this point I was quite concerned. So we force fed her the critical care and we gave her an hour. So I haven't had many digestive issues, thankfully, with the rabbits in the past. Ollie does have a very sensitive stomach and would get some mushy poops. But when I think about it, in all of their lifetimes, I think we've only had to use the critical care once or twice. And thankfully, every time I had used it before Rocky, it had done the trick. So we gave her a syringe full of critical care, and then I gave her an hour. I left her alone because sometimes I find that they won't tend to eat when you're watching them. So we had just taken a picture of all the pellets on the floor to see if we noticed anything missing when we came back. So an hour later we come back and everything is still where it is. She hasn't touched the carrot or the apple slice or anything. So at this point I'm getting pretty nervous. So we force fed her more critical care and then gave her Simethicone drops. So these are the Simethicone gas relief drops. They're for babies, and this is safe to use with bunnies. It is on the Ontario Rabbit Education Organization's emergency kit list as well. And basically the Simethicone is supposed to help relieve gas and break up any gas bubbles in the system. So our next step was to do the oval and the critical care. We gave it another hour and she still wasn't improving. Now she was sitting kind of oddly and stretching and pressing her belly to the floor, which are signs of gas or bloat. But she was still moving around. When I felt her stomach, it still felt doughy. It didn't feel like hard or distended or anything. So, and all her vitals looked pretty good. So we just didn't want to wait anymore. At this point, I think it was 1 a.m. I called the Animal Emergency Clinic, which is about an hour from us, and we were very fortunate that they did have a rabbit vet on staff, because the vets that are at the AEC are on rotation from other clinics. Sometimes it's hit and miss with them. They don't always have an exotic vet there. So when they told us this, we of course rushed her in right away because we didn't want to take any chances. If this had started later, like 5 or 6 a.m., we would have waited for our vet and been there right at 8 when they opened, just because I do feel more comfortable going to my own vet. But thank goodness for the Animal Emergency Clinic. That's why they have those after hours clinics, because I do find that emergencies tend to happen after hours. They don't happen when your vet is open. So the drive to the AEC was a scary one because we were in the middle of a thunderstorm. There was all of this crazy fog, and then of course all the transport trucks were on the highway right now because it was the middle of the night. So it was very scary, our drive, but we made it there. We were seen right away, and basically what they did was they weighed her, they checked her vitals, they checked her temperature, and they felt around in her stomach, and she definitely had some gas in there. So what they did is they prescribed us 2 different things. So the one was Medicam. So every 24 hours we are to give her 0.6 milliliters of the Medicam. And they've already got it pre-measured out into syringes for us. And then the other thing we are to give her is called metoclopramide. And
Hi. Hey, baby. Hi.
So the metoclopramide is a gut motility drug. It's just supposed to help push things through. And it is a tablet. It looks like what they did is it's a 5 milligram tablet, but then they cut it into quarters. I do have to give it every 8 hours, and it does have to be mixed with food. So they gave us 4 days worth. Basically what I did, as soon as we got home, we force fed her and started her on the medication. I think at this point it was around 4 or 4:30 in the morning. So the other thing we did is just before you get back onto the highway from the AEC is stop at Sobeys. They had a 24-hour Sobeys right there. So we grabbed some of her favorite veggies and herbs. We obviously want to entice her to eat, but we don't want to give her things that are really sugary or could set off her digestive tract or actually hurt it more than help it. So as soon as we got home, we got all the medication into her, and then Mr. Beebe and I decided to try and get some sleep, which is easier said than done. So basically, I think it was close to 5 a.m. by the time we actually went to bed. And I woke up at about 10 to 7, ran downstairs to check on her, and she still hadn't touched anything. I was absolutely terrified. And the only thing that's really been perking her up lately are her bonding sessions with Sebastian. So I immediately got them set up in the kitchen, gave them some veggies. I had bought dill and cilantro because those are Honey's favorite herbs. And it's really funny because all of our rabbits go crazy about herbs except for Sebastian. So I gave him some lettuces, and she wasn't eating at all. She's still shifting around weird, but he was grooming her. And I waited until 8 o'clock and I called my vet's office. So when we had gotten home, because I hadn't heard of the gut motility drug that they had given us before, I just did a quick search just to make sure that it was one. Oh. Okay, that's enough. All right. Bonding 101, people. And that's why they don't live together yet. We need these things to settle down before they can be trusted to be alone, because as you saw, that turned into a fight pretty quickly. And Sebastian certainly got a good chunk of her hair. Sorry it's getting really loud in the background. I think the street cleaner is coming by right now. But yes, so I waited till 8 o'clock. That's a good boy, Sebby. He's a good boy. So we waited until 8 o'clock for our vets to open. So the AAC will send over the paperwork to your regular vet so that they have all the information they need to continue treatment if necessary. So when I talked to the vet tech there, she's actually married to our vet and very knowledgeable about rabbits as well. Unfortunately, our regular vet is not back in the clinic until next week, but I had just kind of wanted to know what her suggestions were with Honey and what our next steps were and those kind of things. So what I did basically was verify that all the medication and everything was safe, that I should continue the full dosage because they did give us 4 days worth, how much critical care I should be force feeding and that kind of thing. So during this time I was quite panicked because our vet wasn't in. And then as I'm talking to the vet tech and she's kind of walking me through the things I need to do to keep Honey going, basically, I turn around and Honey is eating some dill with Sebastian, and I had shared a clip of that on Instagram and Facebook. So I basically just started crying. I was a mess because I was so worried about her, and it really freaked me out that hours after giving the medication she hadn't touched anything. So she was eating the dill, then she took a big drink, and then you heard all of this gurgling and stuff in her stomach. So I'm hoping that was all of the gas moving through. After that, she started eating some hay on her own, and we still force fed her a lot the first day just to make sure everything was moving. Her poos have gone back to pretty normal looking now. They're still a little bit smaller than I would like, but for the most part they are normal poops. And there's nothing in them. The first few that came out were a little stringy. I'm wondering if with all this extra bonding, because she has been grooming herself and Sebastian a lot, maybe that caused a bit of a blockage. But the critical care helps to push things through. So we are on day 3 now. We are obviously still really worried about her, but it's really nice to see her eating on her own. We are still force feeding her every few hours, but I'm not giving her quite as much. It's just to make sure that there's some fiber getting into her diet. And I do have 2 litter boxes just full of hay that I'm swapping out regularly, just to ensure that she's got lots of hay to keep her going. She is eating all of the veggies I give her and her nighttime pellets again. So tomorrow is our last day of medication. I am a little worried because this coming weekend is a long holiday weekend for us. Again, we do have the AAC to go to if it's needed, but it does get me a little concerned because tomorrow's the last day of medicine in the morning, And then Saturday, the vet clinics are only open till like noon or 1. And then Sunday and Monday, they're going to be closed because it's Victoria Day long weekend here. So we're really hoping that this was just an off thing. When I spoke with the vet tech about possibilities, because I weigh all the rabbits weekly and I haven't seen any weight loss. I know that she's been lonely and I know it upsets her when I end bonding sessions, but as you saw a few minutes ago, obviously they cannot live together unattended yet because fights are still happening. So, you know, I'm trying to give them basically all day together. All I'm doing right now, because I finished the last of my custom orders for the shop, is just sitting here spending all day letting them have their time together, but just monitoring them because we do want to get them bonded. We think that's going to help Honey a lot. So stasis can happen to rabbits when there's an underlying illness, but it can also happen just because of stress. So our vet tech thinks that this probably happened simply because she's been through so much in the last few months. It upsets her when I end bonding sessions. She lost Rocky. She's been moved to a new area in the house. Bonding can be stressful as well. Just so many different things. And I haven't seen anything else major happening that would have been a cause. Like if it was a UTI, then I would expect like pee dribbles or pain when she pees, and I'm not having any of those issues. She goes to the washroom in her litter box and has nice healthy pees when she goes, and all her poos, like I said, are good when she was pooping. So we're really just hoping this is more of a stress thing, and that's why we're focusing on getting these guys bonded right now. So I had wanted to get all these guys in for a health check. They're overdue for one anyways. Sebastian's been with us about a month now, and he did have quite the medical past. He came in with an abscess because of teeth issues, so I want to be on top of that. So I had wanted to get everybody into the vet. So the idea is at this point to take them all in to get a health check in the next week or two, if not sooner, depending on how Honey's looking. But again, we do have to wait for my vet to get back in, and hopefully we don't find anything more serious with her. But I think it's just she's been through a lot, and it's hard because I feel like her having Sebastian is the thing to make her better, and yet as you saw, they can't be together full time yet. So I love when he stretches his little foot out. He's got such cute little feet. Aww. They're so sweet together. Aww. Little love bugs. So hopefully the humping will die down soon. It's really just Honey telling him that she's boss and this is her place, which is fine, except I need her to stop because he can't live with her if she's gonna keep bugging him. Hey, Honey? Like, she obviously loves him so much, but she just needs to settle down. This is just the normal bonding process. The fact that they started grooming within a few sessions is a really big deal because it can take months or like a year before your rabbits really snuggle up together and are really close.
So just before I go, here's Ollie, and you can kind of see Willow hiding in the back. They were out running around and binking a little bit earlier, but now they're just chilling. They're so sweet. So other than this health scare, everyone's doing really well. We're so relieved to see that Honey seems to be improving. Yeah, I'll just keep you guys updated, I guess. We are really, really hoping that once she's done the medication tomorrow, these symptoms don't come back. I've read that Metacam is kind of the most important thing when a rabbit's going through stasis, because if they're not in pain, they're more likely to eat, and then hopefully the eating will help to get them back on track and get their gut flora back in working order and nice and healthy again. So I hope that the 4 days on the medication was long enough for her. And yes, after this, we do not want any more health issues. Right, babies? This is it. Mommy can't handle any more stress right now. You guys, they have been really keeping me on my toes this year.
Alright, so that's it from me and the bunnies. I hope everyone's doing well, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye!